The House comes to questions for oral answer. Question number 1, in the name of Dr. Parmjeet Parmar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What factors show the New Zealand economy is well placed to withstand international uncertainty?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, as the Reserve Bank reported today in its monetary policy statement, the outlook for growth in New Zealand is positive. This means we are well placed to deal with any uncertainties in the world economy. The bank is forecasting economic growth in excess of 3.5% in each of the next 2 years. In addition, the financial statements for the first 3 months of this year show the government recorded an operating surplus of $222 million, which was $725 million better than forecast, largely due to higher than forecast tax revenues. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand is one of the few developed economies in the world that is growing at more than 3% a year, running a fiscal surplus, enjoying strong job growth, and has relatively low levels of public debt.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Dr. Parmjeet Parmar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What other factors demonstrate that New Zealand is well placed to deal with uncertainty?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the government's responsible fiscal management means we are not burdened with excessive levels of debt and have room to manoeuvre. Government debt presently sits at 25% of GDP and is forecast to fall to around 20% by 2020. In addition, of course, we have a floating exchange rate that adjusts quickly to changes in international trading conditions, an independent monetary policy, an open economy with diversified trade opportunities, a sustainable current account, and we're starting to see the benefits of increased investment in public infrastructure and better quality investment in our people.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Dr. Parmjeet Parmar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What have been some of the immediate effects of the US election result?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, in economic terms, there has been some movement in the value of the New Zealand dollar and on the stock exchange, but as of midday today, the dollar was trading at levels similar to the beginning of the week. The NZX 50 fell in yesterday's afternoon training by 3.5%, but recovered 2.3% of that this morning. In the US, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 1.4%. The Reserve Bank reports the probability of a US federal rate hike in December has decreased. As I said, Mr. Speaker, New Zealand's monetary policy flexibility, a floating exchange rate and strong fiscal position means New Zealand is well placed to manage through any uncertainty from wherever it may come.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Is it correct that despite his target for exports as a percentage of GDP being 40%, that they are now 30% and lower than when his government took office?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, that target, of course, is set for 2025, so perhaps the member might prefer to return with his question in 2025, and then he'll get an answer.
Order. Supplementary question, Dr. Parmjeet Parmar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What are the next steps for the government following the US election result?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the government will continue to focus on what it can achieve to build a stronger and more resilient economy. That means continuing to invest in better public services that work for New Zealanders, maintaining and building on our fiscal surpluses, staying on track to pay down debt, and working to further improve New Zealand's already strong and, in fact, world-leading business environment. As a trading nation, New Zealand will continue to press its case for expanding trade connections, including with the United States, to open up more markets for our exporters and diversify our international connections to make New Zealand further stronger.